now you're in the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, which is a 180-year-old prison. The first prison in the United States, actually, in North America, started by the Quakers.
When the prison first opened, it was designed for solitary confinement. Every inmate lived in isolation, and they believed if they cut off the influence from the outside world, people would have a chance to look into their hearts and redeem themselves. It's the world's first true penitentiary, a building designed to make a person penitent, actually sorry for what they did. It closed in 1971, was abandoned, and today we use it as an historic site to discuss the history of American prisons, particularly this prison, but also all American prisons. And we have art installations here addressing issues in contemporary corrections.
The show is called Prisoners of Age. It was originally exhibited at Alcatraz Penitentiary in 2000, September 2000 to March 2001.
The exhibition is a culmination of 6 years of work between Ron Levine and myself. I personally designed the entire exhibition. We also did interviews too.
What's nice is they straighten out because of the dampness. The pictures exhibited here are of inmates who are incarcerated in geriatric prisons. Men over the age of 50 predominantly, that are considered geriatric in prison terms, that are mostly more or less going to die in prison.
You come through here and you see a cell block. You see it feels cold. There's a certain ominous feeling about it. And then you see a human person. That person could be my grandfather, could be my father, could be my neighbor, and you tend to think, oh my God.
It's a perfect place to be showing this. Puts a human face on the building, which is part of the problem since the building is empty and has been for so long. So it gives you a sense of the souls that were wandering around in this place.
When people come in and they see these images and they read their stories and they're actually in a penitentiary, they actually can relate to these inmates and then feel what they're going through, what they're living through.
It's like hard not to be affected by them. And I think also that they're formally very beautiful, which I was glad to see, because I read about them. And I think it'd be easy on a surface level to kind of manipulate the viewer into like some sort of sympathy. But then when you come in and see them, they're formally really elegant too.
There's a movement in the United States to give more life sentences. They call it 3 strikes you're out. And for better or for worse, the unintended consequence is that there's now an entire generation of mostly men who will live out the rest of their lives into their 80s, into their 90s, with lung cancer on dialysis in these prisons. And people don't think about that. And you can think whatever you want about the laws, but it's I think, important that we understand that is the consequence, that the state and the federal government are stuck caring for these people for decades, all the way out to the end of their life. And Ron's done a beautiful job illustrating the kind of people that you're stuck with at the end of their lives and what kind of condition they're in.
In '96, there was a piece on CBC Radio on elderly inmates in a prison in Alabama. I contacted the warden of the prison, and I asked if I could come down and photograph his inmates.
He was certainly not welcomed by the prisoners. There was not a good, a good response. And within a day or two, people were lining up. These guys were lining up to have their picture taken by Ron.
And then once we started one prison to the next prison to the next prison, we thought there was a really great social statement here.
I was told by so many of these prisoners that they really wanted their stories to be heard, to be read, to be known, and they would feel really happy that if they can save one person, all of it would have been worth it.
Well, this fellow is Jesse Hatcher. Jesse Hatcher is the first person we met when we went into the prison in Alabama. He was tending his garden, and we asked him, Jesse, he's a very affable fellow. We asked him, Jesse, what would you do if somebody stepped on your petunias? And he goes, well, it's just like my mother taught me. I don't take no guff from no one. I just as soon cut his head right off.
Some of the things some of these folks have said, concerning why they're in prison or how they feel about what they did. There was one man down here who had killed his wife, and he said if he had it to do again, he'd do it again. He was glad he had done it. It kind of gives you the chills.
I was just talking to my friend about it. It's depressing, but of course it's realistic, and I find it especially touching when they record the men's speech exactly as they spoke. They're so ill-educated, and their stories are so sad.
These guys' lives are fascinating. I guess it's just fascinating because they're so outside society, you know?
A Ron Levine picture always has some soul. It always has a little insight into who that person is that he's photographing, whether it's a model or a boxer from Sao Paulo, or he captures something, and you feel it.
Yeah, that's great. It just blows it out of, it really blows it out, but it's beautiful.
They're not only really lovely pieces of art, but there's some journalism in there. In a single image, there's a huge story.
What interests me as a photographer, I guess I like the idea that the camera's kind of a visa into people's lives. These people in the Deep South, these people in the maritime provinces, these inmates in the different prisons, they gave me a few moments of their lives. The camera was my way in. By having the camera, by sending them prints, by photographing them, I kind of say, I'm interested in you guys, at the same time, share a bit of your life with me.